Hello, everyone, and welcome to Papercuts. Papercuts is our live monthly show dedicated to helping you learn more about document automation through our tools like our Adobe Document Services. So we're coming to you live on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And we have a whole team of experts here. So I want to make sure that if you have questions, please feel free to drop them into the conversations in whatever platform that you're using. And we can see those, and we'll be happy to answer them live throughout the show. So this show is specifically going to be around our main topic of Adobe Document Generation inside of Microsoft Power Automate. But if you're not familiar with what Adobe Document Services are, let me give you a quick tour of what that looks like. So Adobe Document Services is our set of services and APIs that allow you to be able to automate many of the actions within a document lifecycle. That starts from when you're needing to, say, create documents, where you can have things like your Word-based templates, take your data from your data applications, whether it's your CRM, databases, or other applications, merge those together and generate things like Word documents or PDFs based on that data. And you can even set things like conditions and logic in those templates that allow you to be able to dynamically add and remove content in there. The second area of that is also our PDF services. So if any of you use Adobe Acrobat and you've used a lot of tools like OCR, Combine, Compress, and so forth, PDF services is all about being able to take those actions and make those available for you to be able to automate within your applications and your workflows. There's PDF Embed API, which is around being able to take a PDF and be able to embed them onto your website. And also get things like analytics and events so that you can add interactivity and animation to those PDFs. You have Adobe Sign, which is not part of PDF services, but is a great complementary service that allows you to be able to take things like the documents you generate using Document Generation API or the documents that you optimize using PDF services and drop those into Sign to be able to capture signatures and route those securely. And then finally, we also have things like PDF Extract API, which is around taking your PDFs that have a lot of data in them and be able to extract those out as JSON data so that you can reuse that data wherever you are. We're going to talk a little bit more about a couple of these in a moment. But what I'd love to do is I'd like to introduce our experts. So Ray, Joel, why don't you come onto the screen here? So Ray, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, apparently I'm an expert. I didn't know that. Hi, I'm Ray Camden. I'm one of the evangelists here on the Document Services team. And nice to meet y'all.
And Joel?
Thanks. I'm also an evangelist, so I do what Ray does, just not quite as well.
Oh, come on.
And humble, too.
Yes.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about today is that we have a number of different updates that we have been working on over the last month. So let's start off with those. So Ray, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the updates that have been going on?
Absolutely. So the thing that I'm talking about is that we have renamed PDF tools to PDF services, and literally that's it. Internally, that was a much bigger deal, but externally for you as a developer, it really comes down to two things. First, if you're Googling, for example, like how to merge a PDF, you may find a blog post, you may find a recorded presentation that talks about the PDF Tools API. Just in your mind, know that we call that the PDF Services API. So when you come to our site for documentation, that is what you will need to look for. In terms of your code, if you have existing code, add this now. If you have existing code that you want to update to the latest version, we have a migration guide. I have done this process for Node.js, and it's literally 5 minutes. You will change, for example, what you require, and there is one particular API call that changes. So it's a very harmless, very simple process, but we have documented it for all our platforms. And it's something that you want to check if you do go through that process. And that is it.
All right. And Joel, I think there's some really exciting things going on with Extract. So why don't you give us the update on that?
Yeah. So we've finally released the PDF Extract API, and the PDF Extract API is just a phenomenal piece of software. If you have ever tried to get text out of a PDF file in reading order, in paragraphs and sentences and in other kinds of chunks, excuse me, coffee went down the wrong way. This thing is amazing. You can take a PDF file that is just a basic report, something that has a bunch of tables in it, or just a PDF file that's been scanned and doesn't actually have any text in it. You can send it up to the Extract API, and it'll give you back structured text output, as well as images, as well as tables. The tables can be exported as either CSV or as Excel files. So it's just a phenomenal piece of software. I've been in this business for over 25 years, and this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So if you, let me see if I can get this up on the screen. There we go. If you go to that URL, down there, you can read all about Adobe Extract. If you scroll down the page a little bit, you'll see a video, which we may be playing later if we've got the time. But it really does a good job of explaining exactly what Extract does and what it differentiates Adobe Extract from what some of the other tools out there are currently doing. If you want to read more about it, you can actually go to this post that I put up on Medium that kind of deconstructs what the output from Extract looks like. It is a JSON file, but there's a whole lot of information in there that'll help you analyze that particular piece of text and understand how it relates to other text within that document. So back to you, Ben.
Thanks a lot. And we're going to actually dive a little bit more in next month's episode on PDF Extract. So if this is something that excites you, then stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to dive deeper into that. All right, so the final topic that we have on the news part is something that also feeds into our main topic, which is document generation in Microsoft Power Automate. So we've actually added now into into Microsoft Power Automate, and if you joined us in our last episode, we made available we were talking about our PDF tools, which is now PDF services in Power Automate, and how you can take a number of your different PDFs and merge them, combine them, OCR them, and so forth. But what we've done now is we've now added document generation in there. So you can take your data from all those different data sources that are available within Power Automate. So SharePoint lists, Dynamics, the Dataverse, Excel, all those different data sources. You can take the data from there and you can merge them into documents to dynamically generate Word or PDF documents, making it much easier for you to automate within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So really exciting. And the cool thing is that we get to dive into it today as part of the session. So before we get into the main topic, I'm just looking a little bit at a couple of the topics. Josh, you want to learn a little bit more about Extract. We will be also providing some of these links directly into the chat or the description afterwards. So if you didn't quite catch some of those messages, we will try to follow up those as we're going through. And it looks like Alicia is also dropping in some of those links into there. So thank you, Alicia. And it looks like we definitely got some interest on PDF Extract. So please come join next month as we dive a little bit deeper into that. But let's shift gears and let's talk about our main topic, which is document generation within Microsoft Power Automate. If you're not familiar with Microsoft Power Automate is a really, really great, nifty tool that's part of Microsoft 365 that allows you to be able to take your data and be able to create workflows without having to write code. And one of the really powerful aspects of it is not only does it make it easy for you to be able to do that, but it also allows you to be able to connect to over 300 plus different connectors. So it means that our PDF services, you can also leverage across a number of the different applications. And if you go into Microsoft Power Automate and you search for Adobe here, what you'll see is that we actually have a number of different connectors in here. We have Adobe PDF Services, which will be the focus of today, Adobe Sign for electronic signatures, as well as Adobe Creative Cloud Files for if you want to pull or push files into Creative Cloud. So if we go into our PDF services in here, we'll see that we have not only the connector in here, but there's also a number of different templates that are available for you to use our PDF services in general. Now, right now, at time of recording, the ones that are currently available are the ones that are like for OCR and all the other ones there. But we actually have 15 new ones that we're going to also be adding into there specifically around document generation to kickstart your way of using document generation. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you a couple of examples of how you can actually use this today. So let me first show you a kind of like the end result, and then we'll peel back the curtain and see a little bit more of what it actually looks like and how that's actually built. So I'm in Microsoft SharePoint here. And I have this list that I have in here that I'm using to manage a bunch of different candidates that I'm hiring. And we can see here that we have a great candidate named Sonia that I've been interviewing for a project manager position. We can see a lot of different information about Sonia in here. We have her name, we have her address, we have what vacation days, whether she's going to get a signing bonus, all these different elements that are available in here. And ideally, at the point that I'm ready to give her an offer, I want to be able to simply go into Automate here, which is a function of Power Automate in SharePoint, and be able to go say, send the offer letter, and based on all of that information, take that, generate the document intelligently, and say send that out for signature using Adobe Sign. So we can take that, we're going to run that flow, and just as that's running, just to show you a little bit of what the end result ends up looking like, let's go over to flow here, and we're going to see the final result as it's running here. And what it's doing is it's taking the selected item that I had in my list. It's getting information about the template, and you can see these generate document from Word template actions here. We're going to touch on how we actually did this in just a little bit, but you can see that each of those different actions happened. It created a file inside of SharePoint. So let's go have a look at what that actually looks like. Let's go and see the generated document here, the one that was created a few seconds ago. So we can see that the document was generated with the information populated in here in line for each of the different parts of this document. So beautiful. And along with that, it also has the places where the signature is going to go. So it's also going to send the document out for signature for a person to sign using Adobe Sign. So if we look at the process here, we see that it's sent it out for signature to each of the different parties. In this case, it sent it to Conrad Sims. So if we open up Conrad's email here, let's open this up. What we'll see in his inbox is we'll see the document that he needs to sign here. Give it a second to load. Beautiful. So then when we open that up, we'll see that same document that's presented for signature, along with the place where, say, Conrad needs to sign, and then automatically route it to Sonia to countersign the document and so forth. So that is the general flow of what we're doing, and all of that's being powered by Power Automate. So let's step back and let's walk through a little bit of how the magic is done. So if I go back into flow here, I have another flow that we're going to use to set this up that has a couple of elements in it, but we're going to add a couple of functions in here. So the first thing that we have in here is we have the step where it is selecting the action, the item inside of SharePoint. It is getting the template file that is the Word-based document that is used as the template, and it is getting information about the item that we had selected inside of SharePoint. Right now, that's all that it's doing. So if we actually went ahead and ran that, so we're going to go here and run it, it's not going to do any of the generation because we do need to actually add that. But first, I'm going to walk through a little bit of how that works from like the template creation side. So let's see the result here. So we can see that it generated the result, and it outputs here basically this data. This is I'm using a variable here just to represent what came out from the selected item here, but we can see there's a lot of different information in here: the first name, the last name, and all the information that came up from there. Oh, wait, sorry. Let's switch screens here. We see all the information that is showing up in here from this flow. So if I take this information, I'm going to copy all this JSON data here. I don't need to know the whole structure really that well in order to tag my documents. All I need is I just need the JSON structure. And this is directly what came out from SharePoint. And if I switch over to Microsoft Word here, what we have is we have a wrong document. Let's go in here. We have a template that we have that, and we're going to go up to an add-in, the Document Generation Tagger that we have for Microsoft Word. And this works both in Microsoft Word on the desktop as well as online. And what we can do is we can take that data and we can just paste that right into there. I don't need to know it really well or anything like that. And we click on Generate Tags. And what this does is this allows me to easily be able to place now the tags into my document. So as I'm filling this out here, I can say, dear, okay, we need the first name. So let's just select that and insert the first name there. And it places the field into there. I don't need to know the structure of how those fields are done. It makes it easy for me to be able to place the fields into my Word-based template on the data that's going to be coming from Power Automate. Now, you'll also notice that there might be a section here. Let me just remove this for a second. You might have a section here like for the signing bonus. And the signing bonus, you only want that paragraph to show if the person is actually getting a signing bonus. If they aren't getting a signing bonus, well, we don't want to make it awkward and have a paragraph there about the possibility that they weren't going to be getting. So if we go over to our advanced in here, we see that we all have all the other options in here, including being able to dynamically place images from our data, be able to dynamically add tables, conditional content, as well as numerical functions. So this, in this case, this paragraph is conditional content. So let's go and say conditional content. And we're going to say it's a section, and we're going to want to choose that it's based on the signing bonus field. And just for reference, if we go into SharePoint, we'll see where it's coming from is this signing bonus field inside of here. So if they have a signing bonus, then we want it to show. If we don't have a signing bonus, we don't want it to show. So we're going to select that paragraph there. We're going to choose signing bonus, and we're going to choose that if it is greater than 0. And when we click insert condition, we'll see that it wraps around this paragraph with the different tags that allow us to see that this is going to be a section that's only going to be included in the document if it meets that criteria, that signing bonus is greater than 0. Along with that, we also see down below here, we have things like the signature place. Now, built directly into the tagger here is the Adobe Sign tags. So you can easily place things like your signature tags directly into here based on just configuration. So we can say, I want to place a signature for the first signer, and I can insert that in. And it just adds that signature tag. I don't need to learn how to place those tags in addition to everything else. So I'm not going to tag everything else because I already have everything tagged in here. But the important thing to note is that I also have this saving directly into Microsoft SharePoint. So if I go into SharePoint and I go into my templates, we can see that we have our file being saved into here. And that is precisely what is being referenced with the get file content inside of our flow here. All right, so we have the template, we have the data that comes from that list. Now all we need to do is we just need to ask it to generate that document using document generation. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go in and edit. And we're going to go down and click on New Step here. And under the operations here, we're going to search for Adobe. And again, that brings up our different actions. We can click on Adobe PDF Services. And you can see that all the different actions are available in here, like Protect, Merge, OCR. If I go in and search for, say, like Word, we can see that it brings up this one called Generate Document from Word Template. So I can choose that. And now it's just going to ask us for a few different options. Let's choose this here. So first one off is the template file name. Now you can pass the file name into here. At the end of the day, what matters is that the file extension is the correct file extension. In this case, a Word template. So I'm just going to call it file.docx because I don't really care about the name of the input file here. For the merge data, the easiest way that I can do this is if I want to take all of the different information from like my my get item here, what I can do is there's a trick inside of Power Automate, which is body, which gives you basically the whole result of what comes back from that action. And so we're going to say the body of the get item. We're going to say we want to have the output. We can choose PDF or Word document. We're going to choose PDF. Our template is going to come from this action right here, which is the get file template. And so we're going to go up and choose our file content, just getting from that get file content. And the output file name, we're going to call it, let's say, last name of the person, first name, .pdf. All right, now that we've generated, so that's just one quick, easy step. And if we add one more step, let's say we want to save it to SharePoint. We can say, go to SharePoint. We're going to say create file. And we're going to just put it into our SharePoint site here. Let's say put it into our generated docs folder. We're going to set the file name to be the same as the one that's coming from our document generation actions, file name, and the file content is coming from our action here as well. So that was just a couple of easy steps for us to incorporate it into this action. So now if I go ahead and test this, we'll test it from the previous request that. Oh, wait, no, actually, we have to go back to SharePoint because there's some new stuff in there. So let's go to our recruitment tracker here again. Let's go to Sonia and say, we're going to run our action here. Run flow. And once we do that, we'll see in just a moment, it should show up. It looks like we have that coming up there. And generated the document. So just a couple of easy steps to incorporate that into any of your flows. And now, one of the cool things about this is that you could even use some of the other actions in addition to that. So let's say in addition to creating that file, maybe we want to password protect it, or maybe we want to restrict people from being able to copy content out of that. Well, we can go in and we can say Adobe PDF Services, and let's say we search for protect. We can take that previous action of the generate document, and we can then say we want to maybe protect it from viewing. So we would have to put in a password in order to view that PDF. Or we want to restrict someone from copying content or editing or printing that PDF. These are all different actions that we can make available. So let's do something simple like adding the protect from viewing. We're going to set the file name to be just, again, whatever was coming from the previous step. So let's say the output file name. Our password is going to be something really complex called password. And our file content is going to be output file content. So we're just going to quickly change this here so that our output here is going to come from our protect PDF rather than the original action. And we're going to say save. So let's try running our action again. So it's going to get the information. It's going to generate the document. It's going to protect the document. And then it's going to save it into SharePoint here. Bada bing, bada boom. And if I switch over to SharePoint in a quick second, we'll then see that our output document should ask us for a password. Let's try that one more time. Okay, it's not coming from that folder, so let's see where it's going. It's creating it in the folder generated docs Alvarez Sonia PDF. Oh, okay, it's generated into a slightly different folder here. So let's quickly change that because I made a quick mistake on where that's going into. So let's put it into shared documents. Let's use this little folder here so I don't make that mistake again. So let's click on the folder here. We're going to scroll down to shared documents. We're going to click on generated docs, and that way I know exactly where that's going. We're going to try that one more time. And if I can get a drum roll from everybody streaming right now, we'll get that one more time, and we'll see that it will have the password in there. The fun of being live. So that's just a simple way that you can incorporate that in here. But there's also more advanced ways that you can do that, because once I have this document generated in this offer letter, I might want to also pass that to Adobe Sign to get generated. So if we go back into our files one more time, we'll then see a few seconds ago this file, and now we should see that the password comes up. There we go, password, and Boom, done. Okay, so if we want to add like the action of Adobe Sign into here, that's just another step that we can incorporate into here. So if I go in and add an action to say Adobe Sign, there's two actions that I would need to do. So for example, let's say I want to use Adobe Sign. Because the file is, I need to first upload it to Adobe Sign. So let's go ahead and search for upload. And I'm going to search for and find upload a document and get a document ID. So if I choose that, we're going to call this file.pdf, and our file content is going to come from our generated document. So that's the first step. We want to upload it to Adobe Sign so it has a thing to reference. Then it's just a matter of sending a document out for signature, which I can do using Adobe Sign again. And I can say, create an agreement from uploaded document and send for signature. So if you've ever used Adobe Sign and you've gone through like the send UI where it asks for agreement name, the recipients, and all that type of stuff, that's the same thing just in this step. So we can call this, say, like offer letter. We can choose the document ID, which is that uploaded file there. And then we can choose the recipients from the data that came from beforehand. So let's search for email. We see that we have the recruiter email, manager, the hiring manager email. We can add an additional recipient for like the person, the candidate. So let's search for candidate email. We can change the order. So if we want one person to sign first and the second person to sign only after they sign that, we can change that order there, as well as there's a number of different participant roles that are available. So maybe you want someone to be involved, but not necessarily actually have to sign on the actual document. There's things like approver and acceptor and other roles that are available in there. But that's essentially adding Adobe Sign now into that action. So you can take document generation to intelligently add and remove different sections of the document and pass that also to Adobe Sign. But what if we have some more complex documents? What if we needed to have things like we wanted to do onboarding afterwards? Well, again, we could also do the same thing by having another step here for sending a welcome packet. And the welcome packet could take a lot of information from a lot of different sources and assemble those together for those documents. And so to show you, I'm not going to break down every single element of this example, but I'm going to go through a couple of different bits in here. So if we go into our welcome packet here, what we're going to see is that you could actually make more complex flows in here, where maybe you want to pull information from the candidate information, maybe some of the facilities information. In this case, if they are going to a certain office, you want them to have a very personal package that goes, here's everything you need for your first day, here are some of the facilities that you need to know, and you want to make that personalized. So here we can see that we actually have a lot of information like the candidate, the facilities, the office, the cover, all these different information, including even, actually, we have a Bing action here that's getting the distance from their home to the new office, which we'll see in the output document. It gets information about their manager. And what we've done here is we've actually taken that and merged that into an object that takes all of that information and puts it into one document so that it can pass that data to document generation, and then you could deliver that out to the candidate. So when that flow runs, what that ends up doing is it ends up creating a document that looks something like this. So if we open up this welcome packet, this welcome packet has a cover page that the background image changes depending on whether they're the Seattle office or they're the New York office or the San Francisco office. We can see that actually the distance here has been calculated using Bing Maps and dropped in line in there, so they know exactly how many miles it is to their new future life. We can see all the things that have been assembled, and it's created this personalized letter in here from the CEO. It's provided the information from about the office, about their manager, who their manager is, and it's also even looked up to see what are the services that are around that office and populated it as a list inside of here. So if we even switch over to the other one for Sonia, we'll see that Sonia's, when that gets generated, that's slightly different because now we have the Space Needle. We can see that it's a much further distance here. But it's been all then personalized specifically for her there. And it's using the same concepts. You have a word-based template for you to be able to use. You have a, you can take the data using Power Automate to assemble all that stuff together. Now, I have one more other way that you can also do this is you can also use this in conjunction with, say, like Power Virtual Agents for creating a bot. So let's say, for example, all right, I got my onboarding packet, I got my offer letter, great, awesome. I'm sitting there and I realize I need to have I want to order a phone, a corporate phone. And what we have here is we actually have a bot to help me out with that. So if I go up here and I say, I want to order a phone, we'll see on the left here, this is the bot that you can embed into like SharePoint or a web page or into Teams and so forth. And on the right, this is actually showing each of the different actions that are occurring in here. So first it's asking for my corporate email address. We can say, we're going to put bvanderby@documentcloud.onmicrosoft.com. Say reply. So it's taking that information. It's then running a flow to get my information. And it says, great, thank you, Ben, because it looked up and it knows who I am now. It's going to ask me which phone I want to order. In this case, we'll take an iPhone 12. It's now taking that information and it's actually running the document generation action to generate that document. And then it's also looking up the information about who my manager is to pass that for also counter signature once I review that. And it's going to provide back then a link here for me to be able to then click on that to open that up. It's now generated that document and it's brought in the information about the phone, about my manager. It's assembled, the terms of use policy for a BYOD device, so I can go in and sign that, and it'll automatically route it to my boss to countersign after that. So the flexibility that you have with document generation Power Automate is endless. You could use this in a million different ways within Microsoft 365. Lots of flexibility in there. So that's all I had to show from the demo part of this. What I'd love to do is I'd love to welcome back Ray and Joel. I know you guys have been watching a lot of the different chats and conversations from different people on here. So what have you been hearing in the chat?
Let me find that one question again that I wanted to respond to. It was here. Okay, well, it was Josh, I believe, who asked, getting structured text, or what do you have to do to the PDF to get the structured text out from extract? Yeah. I can't find the specific question, but it was it's in there somewhere. Really, nothing. You download the SDK. There it is. There's the question. Thank you, Josh. So you download the SDK, you get your credentials. Actually, you get your credentials first, and if you get your credentials first, then you can download a personalized version of the samples. And the samples will then, your private key and everything will be already in there, so you're 5 minutes away from Hello World. You bring it up in whatever editor you want. and simply run the samples. You can then change to your files, your specific input files, and submit them. The only thing you really have to do is set what kinds of things you want to be able to extract. So you're always going to get the text. The text is always going to come out whether you make that setting or not. But you can also optionally get out table data. And you can get the tables out as either Excel or CSV files, either way. And when you download the results of extract, it'll be inside of a zip file. And then inside that zip file, you'll get the structured text JSON file at the top. There'll be a tables folder. If you optionally want to get any of the figures, whether those are images or vector-based graphics, those will be rendered into PNG files and they'll be dropped into a figures folder. So there's really nothing you have to do to the PDF file to get the structured text out. But more importantly, there's nothing you have to know about the PDF file to get the structured text out, as well as the tabular data. So in my experience in this industry, you've got some tools that can extract data. Just simply get the text from the PDF file in the order that the PDF file was created. Now, oftentimes, that's not the best thing to do because a lot of tools that generate PDF files generate it targeting printers. They take what they would be sending to a printer, they send it to the PDF creation tool. What you end up getting is, let's say, for example, you've got 2 columns worth of text. You've got the first line of column 1 and the first line of column 2. That's the order in which the text occurs. Then you've got the second line of column 1 and the second line of column 2. That's not reading order. That's not a great way to get the text out because it's very difficult to figure out what's a paragraph, what's a sentence, and that sort of thing. Additionally, so you've got tools that are good at inferring the reading order. So they do a little bit more work on that. Then you've got other tools that are really good at getting tabular data out, but they're not so good at columns of text or distinguishing graphics or understanding what a caption is for a particular photograph. And then you've got other tools that will perform OCR and then try to get the structure out of that. So you have to know, with the tools that are currently on the market, you have to know an awful lot about the PDF file before you know which tool to send it to get the kind of information back that you want. With extract, that's over. You send the file to extract, and what you get back is something that's usable, regardless of the kind of PDF file it is. Whether it's a PDF file that's been digitally created from the start, whether it has structure tags in it, like if it's a tag PDF or not, or if it's simply a scanned PDF file, whether it's got lots of tables, whether it's a report type thing, whether it's graphics heavy, it doesn't matter. Extract just gives you something very usable, extremely detailed. I mean, we can give you the precise character position of every single character in the file if you want that level of detail. So what do you have to do? Send it to the service. It's really that simple.
I find that both extract and document generation kind of follow this pattern of the code that I have to write to use our service. It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's incredibly simple. Now, obviously, once you extract the text, once you generate your documents, then you do whatever makes sense for your business. But like our part, I feel we did a great job of making that as simple as possible. If I could take credit for the engineers who are much smarter than I am.
Ben, I think you're muted. Or Ben, you're not muted, but we're not hearing your voice.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Of course, I was on mute.
There you go.
So for everybody who's joining us today, if you have any more questions, please feel free to drop your questions. We're here to be able to answer any of them in there. But a couple of the things that I know that come up quite often when it comes to Power Automate and some of those things is, how does that quite work from does that scaled? What if I don't necessarily want that to be user-based or things like that? One of the cool things around Power Automate is that you have the ability to be able to use the same functions in Power Automate as you do in what's called Logic Apps on the Azure side as a consumption-based service. So the cool thing about that is that it means that you can use that for like you're in your office and department and you want to be able to automate those actions, or you can also do that on the Azure level and create that as a service that you're either integrating into your app or you're integrating on a standard level within the enterprise as a service. And you still don't have to write any code in order to do that. You just have to configure, which is really kind of cool on that front. So while we're at it, Joel, on the topic of extract, I think one of the things that I find interesting about extract is maybe, where do you see some of the benefits of where, from your experience, where it would have made your life a whole lot easier to have some of these APIs?
Yeah. Okay. So as I mentioned, I've been working with PDF files really since they began, and with PostScript prior to that. Not only have I worked for Adobe, but I've also been an independent consultant twice in those 25 years. And I've been really doing that for about the last 10 years. A lot of my customers are coming to me with issues where they've got a very large PDF file. It's a single PDF file. It's got a lot of pages, and but typically there are sub-documents within that. Usually these PDF files get created by legacy systems that were intended to go to high-speed printers, like from Xerox or Fuji or something like that, where, think about a bank statement run where you're sending thousands of pages to a printer. Each one of them's got a barcode, or there are some separator pages and things like that inside of the print run. And they get fed into something like a Pitney Bowes machine that's going to, pull off the individual documents from the stack of paper, put them into a folder, stuff them into an envelope, and put the address on. That's all an automated process and was really designed for print. So when their customers have been asking for PDF files, they just kind of go, okay, well, here's our print output. Let's aim that at a PDF generation tool, and we're going to give you a 100,000 page file with, maybe 20,000 documents inside that, but they're actually intended for individuals. What Extract will allow you to do is understand the content within that particular document, and then be able to burst that file into its individual sub-document components. So that's one way of using the service, is being able to understand what's there, understand where the breaks in the sub-documents will be, and then you can use our other services like Split and then possibly Protect to burst that larger PDF file into its subcomponents, and then maybe apply security to those documents, and then check them into the individual's record, that kind of thing. So that's one part of it. But another part of it is just being able to understand the semantic content itself. So as I mentioned before, a lot of PDF files, you're going to extract the information. The text isn't added to the PDF file in reading order. So unless you have some tools to deconstruct that page, analyze the layout, and figure out what the reading order should be, it's almost impossible to get anything usable out of those kinds of PDF files. We do that automatically for you. It's not even an option. We give you the structured text. We decompose the layout, and we give it to you in reading order. But once you've got that reading order, then you can do a lot of really cool things. And if you combine the output of Extract, the JSON file that's got the ordered text, it's chunked up into paragraphs, you have the locations on the page for all those things. If you combine that with our PDF Embed API, you can create unique PDF experiences where, instead of doing the regular find in a PDF file or searching to get to the right PDF file, but not necessarily to the right page, with the combination of the output from Extract plus the Embed API will allow you to do kind of the LexisNexis type searches. So find me this word within so many words of this word, or these two words within the same paragraph, or this word in the first paragraph after a heading, or only look for this word in captions. Because we include all this extra information, you can create those kinds of PDF experiences. And I got to tell you, I built one for a demo, less than half a day. I mean, and I'm not even a professional coder. I'm an evangelist. I code to show people how to do stuff. So I'm not the fastest coder in the world. Less than half a day, really easy to do. And I was actually, when I realized how easy it was, I really recognized the power of combining these two APIs.
And just as a note on that front, I know one of the things that, Joel, you recently wrote was actually a really good article for people who are interested in Extract on the Adobe Tech blog, which does help kind of demystify, as you described there, some of the common things that to help people understand getting started in there. And also, just as a note, just because our main topic was also around document generation, there's also a number of other great resources that are on here. Ray recently wrote one around creating invoices using document generation, which is a good one in there, as well as a number of other ones. So do go check out Adobe Tech blog inside of there. Joel, did you have a question?
Yeah, since we've got a few minutes left, one of the questions that I get pretty frequently when I'm talking to some of our field reps about what customers are trying to do with document generation is they're looking for ways to format some of the values that they're getting from their database. And I was hoping maybe Ray could talk a little bit about the fact that our document generation API, the way that you tag the files, is actually built on top of JSON-ADA. And maybe, Ray, not to put you on the spot, actually to put you on the spot, maybe you could talk about that a little bit, because you're the one that introduced me to JSON-ADA, and it's just really neat.
Yes, and I'm pulling up a link now. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, so yes, while I drag this over onto my screen. So yes, there are multiple. I did something bad. There we go. There are multiple ways to format. Ben, can we show my screen? Oh, that's me. There you go. Yeah, there are multiple formatting functions. There's number formatting. There's date formatting. There's basic string formatting. If you go into the JSON-ADA website, you can look at all the docs. And in the blog posts I'm showing on screen here, I show some examples of that. And you can play. And again, what's nice about our API is that once you've written the code to say, take this Word document, take my data, and spit out a PDF, once you've done that, you can play by literally just editing a Word document and not having to worry about your code at all, which has been great for me to kind of play and push the boundaries of what's possible with the service.
And I found that also similarly when using that with Power Automate is once I kind of connect up the wiring of having that template that's stored in like SharePoint, having the flow that's set up, then I'm not having to deal with that at all. I'm then just going in and I can adjust and play with the stuff inside of Word of what I want to show and what I want to hide there, which is really, really kind of cool. Cool. So I know we are getting close to time here. So one of the things that I also want to touch on is if you like what you saw today, if you want to learn more, please follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. You can subscribe, which allows you to be able to see when we're having our next sessions. Our next sessions are always on like the 4th week of the month. On Wednesdays, but feel free to follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. You also have each of our different handles there down below if you want to follow us individually. The other thing that I also wanted to just touch on is next session, we're going to be talking all about Extract. So it sounds like there's definitely some interest from people on Extract. we're going to be talking much more about that, getting a deep dive in our session there. And we'll see how, it does all that magic of understanding the structure of those PDFs, being able to extract that out. And Joel's actually going to walk us through that a little bit deeper there. So fourth week of the month, next week, the next session, it will be on July 28th. And it's all about unpacking PDF Extract API. So please come join us during that session. So with that, I think we're getting close to wrapping up. If you don't have any more questions, or if you have any additional questions, please feel free to also head on over to our community forums. Don't have the link right here. I can pull that up in a second. All of the links of what we showed today, we're also going to provide in the comments for on-demand viewers. So you can go click on the links in there. And but if you have any more questions, even if you're watching on demand, please drop them in the comments, and we'll be happy to go answer them there as well. So with that, thank you so much for coming to the session today. I hope this was a valuable thing for you to be able to see how you can automate a lot of different document actions across a number of different use cases. And I look forward to seeing all of you, along with Ray and Joel, next month when we're talking about Extract API. So with that, thank you, and have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful rest of the week.